Okay, it is 5 o'clock PM on Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. I'll call this regular town board meeting of the Town of LaPointe to order. Do a roll call. Mike Anderson.
Here.
Amy Baxter.
Here.
Susan Brenna.
Here.
Samantha Dobson.
Here.
And Glenn Carlson here. First item is public comment. Do we have any public comment?
I'll have a public comment.
Go ahead,
As long
Mike.
as Pete and Evan and Max are here. You guys, when you go out, just take a look in those bathrooms and everything's getting so stained. I haven't gone for a while, but everything's getting so stained from the minerals in the water. You can think of like Culligan or I have the same problem at home, but I have a Culligan system.
And these bathrooms here?
Well, yeah, take a look at them. They're bad.
I know.
So put your heads together and come up with something for us.
Okay.
Next meeting.
Any other public comment, Paul?
But I keep forgetting this, no parking and driving on the grass at the cemetery was a problem, and hopefully these signs will solve that.
Until someone runs them over.
Thank you.
Gotta be blind, and if you're blind, you shouldn't be driving.
Meg?
Yes, I'm sorry, I thought I emailed all the stuff, but I'm here, representing the Make Music Day. It's going to be June 21st on Saturday. And it's the worldwide thing. We did it kind of small last year, but we're doing better this year. We have a website and we have, I don't know. I only have one copy if anybody wants to read about it, but we have lots of musicians and venues that are taking part. What I had wanted is to see if we could have and I wrote it up, the proclamation that has to be made. But I just want to tell you that's what we're doing on that day, and we have people's permissions to use their.
Great, thank you, Peg. Any other? No worries. Thank you. Good luck with it. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrative reports, town administrators report. Any questions or comments for Max?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, the inverter portion of the ASB, can we, what happens with that? Can we put that on the auction? Wisconsin, sure.
We haven't bought
I thought we were getting rid of it.
it. No,
No, we're getting rid of it from the bit,
from this grant.
from the grant. Oh, okay, got it.
Any other?
That was my same question. So we're not getting it to begin with.
Right.
We're not getting rid of it.
No, we never had, the problem that was intended to solve had been resolved without having to go use. So we never bought.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Eliminate made me think that we were like.
Yeah, I thought,
Something that we are.
yeah, I thought, what's gonna happen to it?
Yeah, right.
What is a clinic blood draws for law enforcement?
So under the law, you have 3 hours. We just have 3 hours to get a blood draw for OWI. And the police have approached our certain has approached the clinic because 3 hours can be short depending on ordering up ferry and getting them over. They have talking to the clinic about would Gina or somebody be willing to do the blood draws.
Okay.
That's what that is.
They've been doing it on Washington Island for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they own the clinic.
Yeah.
The town of Washington owns a clinic. And they've been doing it on Washington Island for many years and we've just never done it here. So it's a good idea. Whether it works or not is.
Okay, any other questions?
So I have one more question, on the writing of the documentations on the who, what. I'm assuming that you'll be working with the department heads when you're doing that documentation work. It's the.
Yes, of course, yeah, we got to sit down and figure out
Okay,
all the flows and then.
that's what I thought, but
Okay, thank you, Sue. Any other questions for Max? Any comments?
I have one more question. I normally don't, but it's not really, it's an agenda question. I'm curious as to why 5B is lined out.
Grandpa Tony's lease.
So we, and last year, we changed the cost of that piece substantially. Went from like say $80 to 200 plus. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to Gary about it. And I just thought it'd be better if I could talk to him about it first rather than just saying, hey, you can tell him we're approved this, and here you go. That's all. I just wanted to have a.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Just so you know, though, it was discussed last year.
Was Gary aware of it?
Gary Flores, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, you sat right there. And we discussed it when Michael Cuckoo was
All right.
town administrator.
Then it should be okay, but I didn't know that.
You remember that, don't you?
Okay, I just want to make sure I had a conversation.
All discussed.
Sounds good. Any other questions for Max? Okay, moving on, Public Works Director's report. Questions or comments for Pete? I support Pete. I have to, I often give Evan credit for his report. Yours was really very comprehensive. Yeah, you two are competing now. Who's gonna get the? Yeah, yeah. Any questions for Pete? Okay. Murph report? Anything from Evan? That? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When is the clean sweep again? Okay, great. Thank you. Airport managers report. Okay, we do not have a planning and zoning administrators report. I told Max we didn't expect one from him during this interim period. But I can tell you he is jumping in with both feet and what is that thing called with the ruler that has a wheel on it?
Yeah, I know what it's called. I learned how to use it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And hopefully that position won't be vacant for very much longer. Okay, accounting managers report. Any questions or comments? Okay, chief's report. Fire chief's report.
I do have a question. Well, there's anybody here from the fire department? You're in the fire department, aren't you? Back many years ago, we had like a 3 strikes in a row for. It was for people who have continuing to have false alarms. So you had 3 false alarms, and then the town can't charge a fine, but they can charge a fee, and it can go on your taxes. That's how people collect. It's not just this municipality; it's every municipality in the state. And so that's what we would do. And I'm just wondering if that's still being done. It was done 12 years ago, but I don't know if it's still being done. But it should. I mean, there is an ordinance in effect. So
We talked about it. I thought we added the fee. We didn't?
well, that's what I'm wondering. Are they doing it? Because
Forcing it.
that particular residence was one of our frequent flyers. And it's all the way on Chippewa Trail. So it's a long ways. And you guys, I mean, the fire department.
It's not the only place that it happens.
Oh, yeah, there's,
I can't answer that question of whether we enforce it or not.
well, you should at least charge a fee for it, for what it costs the town, the taxpayers, get the money back, I would think, but that was.
Max, could you look into that?
Yeah.
Maybe we should put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay, any other questions on the fire chief's report? It is nice to see them having a streak of them. Reports. So, ambulance director's report. Thank you. Is there unanimous consent to place these reports on file?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on, Public Works, Roads, Dock and Harbor, we have an applicant for the fire sign installer to finish up the fire sign installation, and you have the motion in your packet.
I will make a motion to hire Steve Wakeham at $20 an hour. And I have a question about the number of hours.
Okay,
I can't, is that an 8? What is that?
I think it says 800.
So would that position be considered, it's just a seasonal part-time?
It would be just part-time specifically for the fireworks.
So it's 800. The probation will not exceed,
Yes,
or the position will not,
we have 330 plus
signs.
additional numbers to install, so.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Sam Kelly.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, we have a request under Parks to clarify that the move of the Parks 2 person to Parks 1 should come with an additional $1.50 per hour. And so we need a motion on that.
I would make a motion, except for I'm confused as to, now, we've already moved Trevor to number 2, and now you're saying we're gonna move Trevor to number 1?
We hired him at Parks 2 because I had another guy who had applied for Parks. No, somebody was working under Parks 1, he quit.
Okay, so
So for Parks, the Parks 1 position, there's 800 hours allotted as opposed to 600 for Parks 2. So we'd be giving him more hours he can work and increasing his wage.
you still have to fill Parks 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You just
And
move,
you haven't had any applicants.
so there's only one
That's
person.
all, you know, fall through.
Um,
So yeah, and giving him a little bump in pay would help keep him around because we need him back.
Right.
Moving into 2150?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to hire or clarify Trevor Kruger
Kruger, yes.
from Parks 2 to Parks 1 and make his wage at 2150 an hour,
and $800.
$800.
Second.
Second, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, planning and zoning. I don't think we have anything. There is a public hearing tomorrow afternoon for property on Benjamin Boulevard to get home business status instead of home occupation status. And I think they'll have a TPC meeting after that as well. Moving on, Town Hall Administration, approve short-term rental administrator job description. I actually have a lot of suggested additions really, and maybe some crossouts, but I think we should say that it's not to exceed 600 hours per calendar year on the part-time. And under permitting, I think one thing that they're going to need to do is determine the availability of short-term rental permits. Do we have any? And I'll give this to you, Alex. I'll give you to Ed, or Max, rather. Ed. Max. Yes, I did that once before.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully the last time. But determine we have a limited number of short-term rental permits available outside the commercial district. So I think one thing that they would do is do that. And this is, obviously, we're taking this, it had been something that the zoning administrator was in charge of, was issuing short-term rental permits. And we have kind of come to the conclusion that it would be a good fit for the town treasurer to also be issuing the permits for the properties that they're going to be collecting room accommodation tax on. And we will get down to, I think that one of the things under licenses and certifications is, that we will be giving preference, if the board agrees, to the whoever the incumbent town treasurer is for that position, pending town meeting approval. Town meeting has to approve wages for any elected officer who works for the town in another capacity. So that would have to be part of the job description. I think also inform applicants of deficient, invalid applications. 3, process valid short-term rental applications and renewals. 4, maintain and update a short-term rental database, including any waiting list. and cross-reference with online ads. And then under collections, I'd keep 3, renumber it 5. Collections, I would add to coordinate collection and enforcement of short-term rental permits, fees, and room accommodation taxes with town treasurer instead of with zoning administrator. And then deal with public in a helpful and courteous and professional manner. I would not have the disbursements on there because I think the disbursements for the room accommodation tax is handled by the treasurer. And the only other thing that I think I would add is under licenses and certifications, preference given to incumbent town treasurer pending town meeting approval. Those are the only changes that I have. Does anyone else have any comments or?
I have a comment because, so is this, we're creating this position.
Yes.
So is this in lack of, we don't have a zoning administrator right now?
No, it's that the zoning administrator going forward won't be responsible for this. And so their hours are probably a zoning administrator going to decrease.
So this position is going to be
In lieu of.
effect, in lieu of, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the not to exceed 600 hours is to make sure that at a $25 an hour rate, the position doesn't exceed the $15,000 that elected officials are allowed to make as a town employee. Any other questions or comments on this?
Well, where do you see 20?
Oh, we didn't put the hourly because it's just the job description and not a posting.
So we are going to put it on here though.
Well, we have to get the townspeople to approve the hourly rate. We can't approve the hourly rate.
We can if it's not the treasurer. though.
We can if it's not the treasurer.
So
So,
it would go on the job description.
And then,
okay.
yeah.
Do you want to put, yeah, we can add $25 an hour, not to exceed $600 per calendar year. That's fine. And then get the townspeople to agree that they're willing to do that for the elected treasurer.
Right.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the short-term rental administrator position with the changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the short-term rental administrator position with said changes.
I'll second.
Not bad. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Are we going to, I mean, this is probably for the job, for the posting for this position, but 2 weeks to.
Yeah, and I think as long as we are giving preference and saying we're giving preference to the town treasurer, who's already indicated that she is interested and would be willing to do this at that rate. I think that we will go ahead later on in the meeting to call a special town meeting for the purpose of getting approval in the event that she is selected. And, you know, we can also post, but as long as everyone knows that preference is going to be given to the treasurer, I think, you know, it's probably not unreasonable for us to get permission from the townspeople first, you know, even maybe before we've made a decision. So, okay, do we have a motion? Did you make a motion?
Yeah.
Is there a second? Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Next, the lease for the pasture at 687 Middle Road. I'll have that in your packet.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease between the town of Point and Gilpin Matthews and Johnny Fruity.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Next is to call a special town meeting for purposes of approving a wage to the town treasurer should she be selected to be a short-term rental administrator. And you had a date, Alex?
This looks like it could be July 8th, or anytime after July 8th.
Okay, and July 8th is a
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, is that
regular.
Yeah, that would be our day.
Gonna have some that night.
What's that?
I will be off island that.
It just has to be any eighth of that, or
Tickets
just
for
for
that.
the notice.
But it could be the eighth.
It could be the eighth or the ninth, any
Number
number
meeting.
meeting.
Actually, I probably could call in.
Yeah, for a town meeting, you can't vote if you're not here.
Right.
But- You know,
Yeah, but I can still attend.
you can still, participate. We could do it the 9th, but that would be a separate meeting then. As opposed to just putting it together with the town board meeting.
And whatever is convenient.
There'd be four of us.
Yeah, right, that's right. There's a TPC meeting on Wednesday. So how about we do Tuesday, July 8th at 5 PM and then have the town board meeting immediately thereafter?
Yeah.
Because I think we have to set a specific time for a town meeting.
Yeah.
So how does that sound to everyone?
Good.
to me.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special town board meeting for July,
Town meeting.
special town meeting for July 8th at 5 o'clock. And immediately following is a regular town board meeting.
And for the purpose of the chair wages?
Yep.
Or the treasurer wage, rather.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next two items, the electrical easement. Max has heard from our attorney, who has said that we customarily would be entitled to some compensation depending on what the nature of the easement is. I know that we don't want to impede this new electric cable going across. And so I would suggest, unless, and anyone else can have their own opinion, the law firm has said if we can provide them with a lot of information as far as what we're granting, that they could do some research and figure out what they think a reasonable amount might be. Alternatively, I suggested to Max that he contact the person from Excel and let them know that the town attorney has raised this compensation issue. The town board has raised the compensation issue, and basically ask, what are they willing to pay for that? What is their customary amount, and let Max negotiate that.
Well, if you do that, there's already the cables there. You're gonna put the cable in the same spot.
No, this is on the land.
Yes, but they're gonna run the cable from Bayfield, that's why it's Bayfield County and one lease, and then across from the bottom of the lake, and it's gonna come up down at Griggs's. And that's Ashen County, so that's why there's two leases. So what I'm saying is they've already done it, and there hasn't been a lease in the past for it. So, but there hasn't been compensation in the past for it. So now we're saying we want to be compensated or find out I'd rather have them do it in their timeline and get this thing done, rather than us holding them up by finding out if there's a $200 compensation. Big deal. I'll pay a damn thing. Who cares? I'd rather have
Do
electricity.
you have an estimate for what compensation is?
No
Just a
idea.
ballpark number even?
No.
Okay.
I just say, let Max make a phone call and say, we'd be interested to find this out. And if they could, tell us something.
Yeah, I would go with number two too, because how much are we gonna
Yeah,
spend on lawyers to tell us?
Yeah,
they owe us
exactly.
We just spent on the lawyers.
yeah.
Okay. So that's the consensus, to direct Max to talk to the person in charge of leasing at Excel that he's already got contact with.
Yeah, and just see
Um,
what they
yeah.
normally do.
Okay, and bring that to the next regular town board meeting.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, I'd like to propose that we move the next item, which is to consider whether to interview, select any candidates for town planning and zoning administrator, as well as item 8A1, temporary compensation adjustment for Tom Rossberger performing chief duties. If we could move both of those to just before lawsuits and legal issues.
Move them to closed session.
Yeah, well, they are closed session, but
Right.
yeah, have closed session at the end.
I would like to move the
So
that, yeah.
5A.
5F and
8-1,
eight
8A1.
8A1 to after
That's to after all the licenses.
after all the licenses.
Okay, is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to vouchers.
I will make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $63,169.34.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I do notice, oh, there we go. Public comment B is in here. Okay. Next item is minutes from 3 meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular town board meeting minutes from May 27th, 2025. Special town board meeting minutes from June 3rd, 2025, and a special town board meeting from June 6th, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, 8B, Fire Department. This is for annual testing and service of the extraction tools and the Avon brand self-contained breathing apparatus, as well as another purchase order for testing and service of the MSA brand of SCBA. So we need a motion on those two
Want
items.
one at a time or?
You can do them both together, I think.
Asked last meeting if, because their budget was for equipment was at capacity, does this affect any of that?
I think this
Or
is a
is this
separate
a
line
different
item. I think this is a different line item.
Check that.
Yep, good question.
Cool.
Any other questions? Did we get a motion?
No.
Motion and second, please.
I will make a motion to approve the purchase orders of Genesis Avon Service and MSA Scuba Testing and Service per submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is public comment B. Don?
Yeah, the idea of me going and talking about whether the interviewer is not candidates for the town planning and zoning administrator. Hopefully, the person you select has a knowledge of what the zoning and planning is. It doesn't make a lot of mistakes that cost other people money. Because when they do make a mistake, they're getting paid. When a contractor bidding on the job, when it finds out that the job can't be done because the zoning people, zoning administrator made a mistake, they're out money. Because the person, for example, takes 3 hours to write an estimate. I contact Excel to find out about the power, there's an hour. And at the last special meeting, it sounded like you gave the zoning administrator a compensation package. Who compensates the contractors? Be very careful. Because somebody might want to say that, when's the town going to pay me?
Thank you, John. Any other public comment, Paul?
Mentioned under the description of the short term rental administrative job descriptions, there's a limited number of permits outside of the commercial zone. I know that was discussed, I don't think that was ever.
I believe it's in the ordinance.
Okay. I know it was discussed, but I didn't think there was a limited number, because people were complaining left and right a couple of summers ago about that.
Yeah, we had established the number at about 10% higher than what the existing number of licenses or permits were at that time. And my understanding is we have not bumped up against that limit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do at some point in the near future. So I think it's important to keep an eye on that. Any other public comment? I would like to comment on, and I'm sorry they're not here right now, but with the shorthanded Public Works Department, I think they've been doing an exceptionally good job and under, again, not ideal circumstances. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, moving on, liquor licenses. And we can do these by group.
Yeah,
We-
A.
A, B, C.
Yeah.
But you want us to read the names of the
Yeah.
licensees?
Yeah.
Okay,
Only one.
Business or the person.
okay.
Doesn't,
But if Len reads it once, then we don't have to repeat it though. right? Like last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the combination Class A liquor license and Class A fermented malt beverage license for Madeline Island Yacht Club, Inc., Mission Hill Coffee House, La Pointe Provisions, and Farmhouse Madeline Island LLC, Darling's Grocery?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion with the, pending, if it's pending.
There's no ones are pending anymore.
these are actually, all of them are good to go, so if it says pending, they have paid over the weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, we're all good on those. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving on. Class B liquor license for Bell Street Global, Bell Street Tavern, Bell Street Restaurants, Inc., Fresh Beach Club, and the Pub on Madeline Island, Inc.
I'll make a motion to approve Class B liquor licenses.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
You know they're not pending.
Alex told me.
It's all.
I'm just going by the agenda.
Yeah, no, she told me that all of them had been
Okay.
paid. Next is the Reserve Class B liquor license for the Middle Road Literary Arts Society, Inc., Tom's Burned Down Cafe.
I'll make a motion to approve the reserve Class B liquor license.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Opposed?
No, I,
You said aye. Okay. Motion carries. Next are Class B retail sale of fermented malt beverages licenses for the Madeline Island Golf Club, Inc., Rock House Food Truck, Bell Street Global / Bell Street Tavern, Bell Street Restaurants, Inc. / Beach Club, Farmhouse Madeline Island / Farmhouse Kitchen and Inn, Middle Road Literary Art Society, Tom's Burned Down Cafe, the Pub on Madeline Island, Inc., A Girl and Her Lake / Bell Street Gallery.
I'll make a motion to approve the Class B retail sale of fermented beverages licenses.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, moving on. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Moving on, Class C wine license for Rock House Food Truck, A Girl and Her Lake / Bell Street Gallery, Farmhouse Madeline Island / Farmhouse Kitchen and Inn.
I'll make a motion to approve the Class C wine license for the ones you just mentioned.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is cigarette and tobacco license for Bell Street Restaurants, Inc. / Beach Club, Farmhouse Madeline Island LLC / Darling's Grocery, and Middle Road Literary Art Society / Tom's Burned Down Cafe.
I'll make a motion to approve the cigarette and tobacco licenses.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is non-intoxicating beverage licenses for Bell Street Restaurant, Inc. / Beach Club, Bell Street Global / Bell Street Tavern, Farmhouse Madeline Island / Farmhouse Kitchen and Inn, Farmhouse Madeline Island LLC / Darling's Grocery, McPherson LLC / Quinn and Zeta's Bakery, Middle Road Literary Arts Society Inc. / Tom's Burndown Cafe, the Pub on Madeline Island Inc., Rock House Food Truck, Madeline Island Golf Club Inc., Madeline Island Yacht Club, Mission Hill Point Provisions, Bell Street Gallery / A Girl in Her Lake LLC, and Bird's Nest / Birdie Palace.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-intoxicating beverage licenses.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to ask Alex, is it your job, like for people that are pending or were pending, is it Alex's job is it to notify them that their application is in, or is it their job just to make sure they up to date on payments?
It kind of goes both ways. I do let people know, but also Nancy from the sanitary district sends out an invoice so that they know that they owe, and most businesses know that they can't get their license if they owe money to the town.
Okay.
I have one question on the non-intoxicating beverage license. Are people that have like a soda vending machine required to have, or does the vending machine company get a separate license that covers them?
If it's on their premise,
Yeah.
they have to get the license, if it's on their premise.
Food truck has a vending machine thing, and they also have a cooler, but that covers both of them.
I was thinking like of Dockside. I think that they have I thought they had a vending machine there. Maybe it's gone.
I think they used to.
Yeah, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we have a couple of items to discuss in closed session. The town board may go into closed session during the meeting for purposes of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, in which it is or is likely to become involved in accordance with Wisconsin Statute 19.851C. After the completion of the closed session, the board will come back into open session to act upon the discussion in the closed session or otherwise complete the business of the meeting before adjourning. Is there a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of considering whether to interview, select any candidates for town planning and zoning administrator, as well as to discuss temporary compensation adjustment for Tom Rossberger performing chief duties?
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session to discuss what you just said.
Third, second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, Mike Anderson,
Yes.
Amy Baxter,
Yes.
Susan Brenna,
Yes.
Samantha Dobson,
Yes.
and Glenn Carlson, yes. Thank you.
Shouldn't we, why did Max leave?
I think
Second,
Moved and seconded to go back into open session. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are back in open session. The first item that we discussed in closed session, we have decided not to, at this point, interview or select any of the candidates, either of the candidates who have applied so far. We will be keeping the position application period open until our next town board meeting. That doesn't require any action by the board at this point. The second thing we discussed was a retroactive temporary wage increase for Tom Rossberger, who's been acting as police chief in Chief Defoe's absence. Is there a motion to increase Tom's wage by $5 per hour retroactive to when he started as acting police chief and ending at such time as Chief Defoe comes back to work?
I'll make a motion to give Tom a $5 raise retroactive from when he started being police chief until the chief comes back and he's not chief anymore.
second,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
We have one no. Okay. Motion carries 4-1. And let's see. I think lawsuit and legal. Lawsuits and legal. Anything to report there, Max? New agenda items for future meetings?
Liquor licenses, possible hiring of county administrator, Excel easements, I have a picnic license, the Double Point Center. And the enforcement of the fire ordinance for false calls.
And let's try to figure out what's the water supply, you know, the minerals that are turning the porcelain. Oh, we gotta fix that.
There is actually a chemical that you can use.
Yeah.
Pretty harsh.
I
but
mean,
I think better than that would be if we can.
About a filter, I think, so it doesn't turn that color.
well, they already have a filter, but it's go in there. It's pretty, I mean, I didn't go in the women's, but I
I
went.
noticed it today.
You have to have a finer filter than what
Gotta do
we have,
something.
basically.
Hate to see like that.
Yeah.
So they'll look into that. Okay, any other agenda items for our next meeting? Okay. So is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries and we have